When the so-called robber barons came in, for the 100 years before that, wages were like this. After this, they went like that for 100 years. Oh, when the robber barons came in, life expectancy in America was like this. All of a sudden, it went like this. I mean, there was a positive impact. We were living season to season, praying that the seed would work, that the crop would come out of the ground. We created the modern world, and it was the oligarchs who drove that.
Before I really get into what I really want to talk about, let's clear up a few things that he said in that short clip.
When the so-called robber barons came in, for the 100 years before that, wages were like this. After this, they went like that for 100 years.
Wages started to increase pretty much after the Civil War, and they really spiked up. But the problem is inflation. Inflation has driven up from 1800 to now at about a rate of 1.44% a year. That means a dollar in 1800 is worth $25 in 2025. And what does that mean? You can't buy what you would have bought in 1800 now because you don't have enough money. Let's say back in 1800, for one whole dollar, you could have bought 12 loaves of bread because a dollar was worth more because it was backed by gold and there was less inflation. You cannot buy a whole loaf of bread for $1 now. Hell, you can probably get about 2 or 3 slices out of that loaf. That's what we're talking about. When he says wages went up, yes, they went up, but what you can do with that money went down. I did a video a couple of days ago where I said minimum wage back in 2009 was raised to $7.25 an hour. That is equivalent to $20 today, roughly $20 today. That $7 in 2009 is worth $25 today. So if you took the $7 and brought it up here, it will be worth more. But if you take the $25 here and took it back to 2009, it'll be worth $7. That's what the robber barons did. One more thing.
Oh, when the robber barons came in, life expectancy in America was like this. All of a sudden, it went like this.
Life expectancy has increased over the last 200 years. But do you know why? It was because of our medical institutions creating vaccines. It was innovation in health, in better eating habits, in technology. It was not because of the robber barons. Do you know who they were? They were men like Jay Gould, Andrew Carnegie, and Cornelius Vanderbilt. They were the Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Mark Zuckerberg of their day. And there was a lot more of them too. John D. Rockefeller, JP Morgan. It was a lot of them. And what they did is they amassed tons of wealth and fortune at the expense of the worker. The nice looking white man in the middle of this photo, Andrew Carnegie, the one that has Carnegie Hall up in New York or whatever. Yeah, he was responsible for a riot in which he called in the Pinkerton Detective Agency, who had them shoot at workers who were on strike against his own facility. Now, he was in Ireland and had his number 2 do it, but it was still his company and he had to try to fix it. The robber barons were the pure definition of what it was to be a capitalist, to keep their bottom lines in the black. And the most expensive thing that a business will have is the people that are working there. Now, I know I wasted about 3 minutes of your time, but I said all of that because of what he said at the end of that clip.
And it was the oligarchs who drove that.
Now, the definition of oligarchy is below me. It's a small number of people, of wealthy people or wealthy families that can control a government. He is out there trying to get you to believe that it is okay for the richest, wealthiest people in America to control it. That's all I had to say. I'm sorry I wasted 4 minutes of your time. What do you think?